Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, XRP traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Sunday. It's July 20th. Hope you're doing well and hope you have a great weekend. Just a quick heads up, I was supposed to be live with Sensei Crypto. He was having some technical difficulties, so we're going to reschedule that. I just want to make sure everybody's aware. But we're going to do a video. This was a popular request. I've discussed this a few times with different Pow Group members and people on social media and my YouTube comments, etc. A lot of people ask me this, and a recent Pow Group member, you know who you are, just asked a bunch of questions about this as well. So rather than me go through and respond to each message, direct message, or comment on my videos, I wanted to make a specific video for this because a lot of people are asking this question, and then I'll just be able to share it with everybody. And then anybody who asks me in the future, or anybody who asks you, you can just share this video with them. So essentially, we're going to be discussing the different ways to buy XRP. We'll discuss self-custody versus exchanges, how to buy it. Then we'll look at like futures ETFs, spot ETFs, and then also we'll just discuss briefly Ripple, the company, because there was some confusion. We have a lot of conflating of the two in the community, and that has to do with a lot of the mainstream media doing that on purpose because they want to make people feel some type of way. But we'll discuss all of that more in today's video. Before we do, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Never do buy, sell anything based on anything that I say or write. And full disclosure, I do own XRP. It's my largest crypto portfolio holding. You can follow us over on X as well. Subscribe on YouTube. Tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And the handle on X is @GroupPow. Over 1,000 followers there. So really appreciate all of the support and followers that we've been getting on X recently. So if you haven't seen my interview with Pascal Saint-Jean, it's 3IQ CEO. They have a spot ETF here in Canada, and that was a great interview. Only 37 minutes, getting a lot of great feedback from that. But that's just one way that you can purchase XRP now as a Canadian. And you can actually buy this in the US. If you're an American citizen, you can actually buy this as long as you're a broker, as long as you're in the US and your broker has access to the Toronto Stock Exchange. You can do the .u version, which will be in US dollars. So you can buy this. The ticker is XRPQ. But just look at your broker and see if you have access to the Toronto Stock Exchange. A lot of people in the US might not, but you'll just have to check with your broker. But this is one way that you can buy it here in Canada. You can buy it with all these different providers. There's also Purpose ETF. There's also Evolve. I really recommend 3IQ, Purpose as well. They've had a great track record. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. There's 3 spot ETFs in Canada. There's also the Tangem 2x leverage ETF, but that one doesn't invest in the underlying asset. It's a futures based, so you're basically just betting on the price in the future. They're not actually holding the underlying asset like a spot ETF, like a 3IQ XRPQ ETF. Now, you always want to go self-custody. I know this is very intimidating, so there's going to be pros and cons for all of these, right? With an ETF, the pros and cons for this is just ease of use. It's very easy to do. If you're in your traditional stock brokerage account, if you're using TD or Fidelity or RBC, whatever it is that you're using, well, simple. You can go on here and buy it very, very easily just by searching in at your existing brokerage, right? Another benefit is adding it to registered plans. So whether it be, your Roth IRA in the US, eventually once we get XRP spot ETFs in the US, this is all coming. There's an executive order in the US potentially getting crypto in 401ks. You're going to be able to do it in your retirement account. So this is all coming. But the benefit of having it in, a TFSA or a Roth IRA or whatever it is in the US, I'm not an American citizen either, so I don't know all the ins and outs. But in Canada, TFSA is a tax-free savings account. So you can add these spot ETFs directly into your TFSA and it grows tax-free. If it's in your RRSP, you get taxed when you take it out, but there's contribution limits there as well, but benefits, lowers your taxable income in your current year, and then later on, you take it out when you have less income, okay? So this isn't an RSP or a TFSA lesson, but those are some of the benefits. You can't buy XRP directly, the actual asset directly in a TFSA. There's no way to do that until now with these spot ETFs. So I recommend maxing that out because you can, and again, not financial advice, not tax advice or anything like that. It's just once you max out your TFSA, there's a lifetime contribution room limit, and then there's each year. This year you got 7,000, so you can add additional 7,000 if you're like me and max it out. Each January 1st, you get an additional X amount of money. This year it was 7,000. It could be more or less next year. We'll see what happens on June 1st, 2026. but then you're able to add more. So I recommend starting there because it's all tax-free. And then anything else you have left over, like you definitely want to own the asset itself, and you want to do self-custody. I just posted a video about this and in the Power Group private community today. You never want to have majority of your assets on an exchange. And I know making this video, people are not going to listen to me. They're not going to take the self-custody route. They're just going to put it all in an exchange or on a something like that. Whether, and you don't even want to do it 100% on one wallet. You want to spread it out. And I know it sounds super complicated and confusing. It's very overwhelming. It's really not, though. If you just go to tangem.com, use code POW, you'll get 10% off. I've got 2 of these. I've got the 3-card set, and I've also got the Tangem ring set. I can't say enough good things about it. But take your security seriously. Invest in this is so easy to use. You can set it up in less than 5 minutes. It's so easy to use, you'll think you're doing something wrong. And, set it up. It's safe, secure, cheap, affordable, whatever you want to call it. Buy this, do yourself a favor, have peace of mind, and not your keys, not your crypto. So when you buy this, you control the keys. Essentially, a public key is just your username, your email address, and the private key is just your password, right? It's just the password to get into your wallet, essentially. So public is your username, private key is your password to that wallet, essentially, right? Your password. So this is the way you want to go. I have 90% of my crypto, if not more, on Tangem wallets. I also have a Ledger wallet. I also have a SecUX, but the one I recommend and love the most is Tangem. And like I said, POW will get you 10% off. There'll be links for this in the description, etc., in the comment section, or if you just go to my channel, click on these links here or more, you'll see all of the products and services that I use. I wouldn't promote them unless I didn't use them. You can buy XRP on Wealthsimple. You can buy it on Uphold if you're in the US. There's tons of ways to do it. You can do it on Robinhood now as well. But what you can do is you can buy it on Wealthsimple in Canada. You can buy it on a few different places in Canada. And then you can send it to your Tangem wallet. You want to have it on here because self-custody is the most recommended way. And then if you're going to send it to multiple exchanges, just test with a small amount. And also, have a few different exchanges in case there's any kind of maintenance, whether it be planned or unplanned, okay? So owning the asset is better. Why? Well, it's more secure. You control the keys. If there's ever, the exchange is ever down, you have it on your hardware wallet. You can use a different exchange. I was actually hacked. I lost a Bitcoin, 2 Ethereum, and about 10 Litecoin. Do the math on that. I had all my eggs in one basket, all my crypto on Quadriga, and it went under. It went insolvent. I lost all of that. Ask yourself if that's something you're okay with. So learn from me. Don't put it all in an exchange. If you're going to do that, just a little bit. The benefits of owning crypto, the pros and cons to an ETF, ease of use in its traditional stock brokerage, registered plans, etc., tax-free savings accounts. Can't do that with actual crypto. But the downfall of that is you don't control the keys. You are protected through CDIC, which is a type of insurance. They also have their own insurance. So you're protected from multiple layers, but the cons to having an ETF is you don't actually own the crypto. So not your keys, not your crypto. You can't do any kind of lending or anything like that. Let's say there's any kind of airdrops, which happened with the Flare network. If you owned XRP, you could get the new Flare drop, which was a new distribution of that token, so that you can benefit from. There's all kinds of different ways, right, that you can benefit, but those are the most, the biggest ones. And then same thing with holding crypto directly. The cons are, not as easy to do. You can't buy it in your traditional brokerage. You're not getting the tax benefits, but there is a lot of benefits to it because typically ETFs charge a premium where, with the actual asset, you're going to benefit less from fees. And that's another thing too. These asset managers, they charge a fee. Right now, 3iQ is doing 0 fees for the first 6 months, and they have the lowest fee out of all of them in Canada, but you do have to pay that management fee for them looking after the fund, right? So yeah, those are some of the pros and cons. When you own the crypto, like I said, you can pay for things with crypto. So for example, I paid for something the other day in XRP. Well, I can't send my TFSA ETF, spot ETF shares to something for a payment, right? If they say, I want to do payments, that's what XRP was designed to do, right? To be a better Bitcoin and to do what actual Bitcoin was set out to do, which it failed at. Well, if you're going to be able to pay for things, goods and services in XRP, you can't do that with an ETF now, can you? So with owning XRP, you can actually buy things, which is another cool pro. But again, it's just a little bit more. You have to be your own bank. You have to manage this. It's a little stressful. So there is a little bit more of a technical barrier there and barrier of entry. But again, this is so easy with Tangem. It's not even funny. And you can check out Wealthsimple, Uphold, Robinhood in the US. All of those, you can buy it. And then I recommend, keeping some on the exchange potentially if you want to, but no more than 5 to 10% of your holdings. You should keep the rest on hardware wallets that you manage, unless, like I said, it's an ETF and you're holding that in some sort of registered plan, etc. But those are some of the pros and cons of owning XRP directly and indirectly through an ETF. The futures-based ETF, the XRP, that one's a 2x leverage, so you shouldn't hold it long term. It's more for shorter term. But again, if you make 2% on the way up, in theory, you should make double the money, right? Because it's 2x leverage. But the thing is, if the asset goes down, if XRP goes down, you lose 2% as well. So you make 2% extra to the upside, but you also lose 2% extra to the downside. So those are some of the benefits of a leveraged ETF. But they have built-in decay built into them, so they don't hold them for long term. They're only meant for short term, those leveraged ETFs. Another question I had, how do you buy Ripple stock directly? So Ripple is a private company. You can't buy their stock unless you are accredited. So most people don't qualify for the accredited investor status. So you have to be, and they're looking to potentially improve this. So you have to have a net worth of $1 million or an annual salary for at least, I think, a few years, over $200,000. So just look into what the accredited status is in your country. In different various regions, it differs. So you want to check that out. But Ripple is a private company. You can buy their stock directly. It's not public yet. They'll probably IPO eventually. Like I said, I think Ripple will become the most valuable company in the planet, and XRP will be the most valuable digital asset. So as of right now, we can't buy Ripple stock, but eventually there'll be an IPO, just like Circle, just like Coinbase, and I think it could be the most successful IPO ever. But if we get accredited, then there's different ways to buy it through being accredited. But you'll want to look into being accredited first if that's something that you even qualify for. If not, then there's not even any point of discussing it, because it's that pay to play, the rich get richer, right? They want to keep we can spend all of our life savings at a casino, but we can't buy private equity, new up and coming companies, because we're too dumb, right? The government just knows what we can invest in, but they don't put any caps on putting all your money on black on the roulette table. But XRP directly, so I mentioned that. There's been a lot of questions about, is it difficult for newbies? Again, that's why you want to use Tangem. It's the easiest one. Already went over kind of the pros and cons of that versus an ETF. Another question I had was custody risks of having third parties holding the asset for the investor or direct ownership. So I kind of went through that. You don't want to have it all in one exchange, right? You want to own your own coins and your own keys, your private keys. So that's what Tangem enables you to do. It's direct ownership. And even if Tangem, the company, were to go away, it's all open source and it will still continue to function, right? So you're not, relying on Tangem's business or to be around in 20, 30 years, which I'm sure they will be. There's no issues there. But yeah, you definitely want to go direct ownership always. And any performance lag between owning ETF and ETF directly or indirectly owning XRP, fees, liquidity. So yeah, obviously liquidity is going to be a big factor. You're going to get the most liquidity with XRP, the asset, the digital asset. Fees are something you have to consider as well. You don't have to pay fees. If you own XRP directly, you don't have to pay those management fees. So that's something you'll have to factor in with these ETFs. Again, 3iQ is waiving it for the first 6 months, but then it also has the lowest fee out of all of them here in Canada. You want to check them in the US once they launch in the US as well. But yeah, that's something you want to compare, the fees. And then also foreign currency exchange risk, hedging. Like, I don't really see much issues there. Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you, and you don't have to go all in on one, right? You can do a mix of both. You can do what I do. I own 90% of my XRP, if not 95% of my XRP is self-custody. I own it. It's on a Tangem wallet. I own it direct ownership. But I've also got some in a TFSA, right? I want to take advantage of that long-term hold in a tax-free savings account because any gains that I make are tax-free. So that's like long-term XRP. I'm talking I won't be selling any XRP ETF shares in that TFSA, tax-free savings account, until at least 3-digit. I'll probably sell maybe 50% of my holdings at 3-digit XRP, so $100, and then I'll keep the rest for $1,000. That's kind of where I'm looking at. And again, I'm only allowed to contribute. I've maxed it out, so I'm only allowed to contribute $7,000 a year as a Canadian to that tax-free savings account. So next year, I'll add more, but again, it's going to be less money, so I'll be holding it for longer periods of time. You feel me? So yeah, I've got it in an RRSP. There's different benefits to having it in an RRSP as well. Plus, you get more contribution room there. Like I said, I've got some on exchanges, but very little amount, no more than 5 to 10%. I've got it self-custody. Eventually, you're going to be able to do lending and staking with different platforms like Flare. You can participate in airdrops. There was just one for XRP holders through the midnight airdrop on Cardano. So all of these things, right? I think it's not choose one or the other. Everybody's situation is going to be different, and you can even just do different options, right? Like me, I have it in an RSP, I have it in a TFSA with the spot ETFs. I've used the futures-based ETF because I wanted exposure to leverage and just having a quicker chance to double up on that, right? Using a 2x leverage, so it's better that way. I own XRP directly on a hardware wallet and on an exchange, so I'm kind of diversified across all avenues, if you will. But let me know if this made sense. If it didn't, if there's anything you need more clarity on, please let me know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in general. Do you think there's any other benefits, any other pros or cons that I didn't mention already? But yeah, obviously, participating in DeFi and everything, we're going to have more options as time progresses. But hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. We'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll catch you on the next one.